Have you ever thought about how a majority of India's most successful companies are run by families? And I'm not just talking about conglomerates like Reliance Industries or the Aditya Birla Group or the Bajaj Group, which I'm guessing was some of the names that immediately came to mind. I'm also talking about the hundreds of companies from across the country that were established decades ago, some even before independence, as your regular run of the mill mom and pop brands. The ones that have managed to find a spot in pantries, on kitchen shelves, bathroom cabinets for generations. This episode is about those companies. To start with, here's a stat that may surprise you. Today, Indian family businesses contribute more than two-thirds to India's GDP. 70%. That's amongst the highest in the world. And that number is expected to go up to as much as 85% in the next 20 years. And yet, today, a lot of these companies are at a crossroads. You see, many of them have realized that they can't just carry on as they always have. Business as usual isn't going to work anymore. Think of brands like Medimix or Baidyanath syrups. Iconic names for sure, but they are increasingly being bracketed as parents' brands. The next generation of leaders at these companies have started to recognize this. They've realized that to have a shot at winning, they are going to have to break off on their own. That too in a world that looks very different from when their family businesses were first founded. Add to that the complication of convincing both your family and your employees to get on board, and well, the struggle is real. Just take the case of 40-year-old Kiran Shah, the scion of the family-run chain Apsara Ice Creams. During the pandemic, he proposed the idea of selling ice creams via dark stores instead of from its 100 plus ice cream parlors across the country. And his family was perplexed. They just did not see his vision. They didn't want to be so aggressive and instead wanted to stick to their tried and tested slow and steady route. So Shah decided to do things his own way. He started a brand called Go Zero that sold guilt-free ice creams through quick commerce platforms. This isn't the first time something like this has happened, of course. For instance, Ashok Mani, the grandson of one of the largest spice exporters in the world, started his own spice brand, Kitchen Treasures, in 2013. And then there's Arjun Vaidya, who used his grandfather's secret recipes to start Ayurvedic healthcare brand Dr. Vaidya's in 2016. There are so many more. Apart from decades-old legacies, what they all have in common is the understanding that you can't take 100 years to build a brand anymore. You have to act now. Welcome to Daybreak, a business podcast from The Ken. I'm your host Rahel Philippos, and I don't chase the news cycle. Instead, every day of the week, my colleagues Snigdha Sharma and I will come to you with one business story that is worth understanding and worth your time. Today is Wednesday, the 9th of April. Meet Ashok Mani. He is the grandson of Kerala's Jacob family. While that name might not immediately ring any bells, they are among the largest spice exporters in the world. But one thing they've always struggled with is entering the FMCG game. They even tried acquiring an FMCG brand to make it happen, but it just never worked out for them. So the family board ended up tossing the buck to its newest generation. The ball was now in Ashok's court. The task before him was not for the faint of heart. He realized that being recognized by 5% of people in Kerala, mainly people in the business community, was one thing. But to ensure that your product reached the shelves of every kirana in the state was a whole other entirely. Especially when your competition is 100-year-old listed brands like MTR. But Ashok decided to throw his hat in the ring anyway, and he started building a brand called Kitchen Treasures. He explained to the Ken how, when it comes to FMCG, sourcing raw materials is just one part of the business. The main thing is packaging, marketing, and distribution. And this was an area where he admits to have struggled. You see, at the end of the day, it's not easy convincing the family board to shell out 1 crore a year just to get a celebrity to endorse the brand. They would be far more willing to spend lakhs on things like machines, because at least those show as assets on the balance sheet. When it comes to money spent on marketing, meanwhile, it isn't quite that straightforward. Still, Ashok has high hopes for his company. While it took his grandfather nearly 4 decades to scale Synthite, their family company, to a 1,000 crore rupee company, Money hopes to do the same for Intergrow, the parent company of Kitchen Treasures, in the next 6 years. For context, Intergrow itself is a subsidiary of Synthite and currently has a revenue of 265 crore rupees, of which 250 crore rupees comes from Kitchen Treasures. But there's no one size fits all when it comes to family businesses. You see, the challenges that Arjun Vaidya faced were quite the opposite. Vaidya's grandfather, whose Ayurvedic clinic made its medicines in house, had left behind a trove of carefully crafted recipes. So, when Vaidya decided to carry forward the legacy following his grandfather's death, his first obstacle was to convince his own staff. When he spoke to us, he recalled how his factory manager was convinced he would run the business to the ground. But his skepticism was understandable. You see, Vaidya would go on to use his age old family recipes to sell sexual wellness products, even anti hangover pills that he developed from liver protection capsules. Again, this was a marketing game. It was easy to change the packaging from a 30 capsule pack to a chewing strip of just 5 tablets. But offline operations were a challenge. Because when Vaidya tried selling his products at Kiranas and Ayurvedic stores, he found his brand up against Goliaths like Zandu and Dabur. So within 6 months, he decided to switch to a digital first strategy. And that ended up being the right choice. Cut to 2019, he's managed to sell a 65% stake in Dr. Vaidya's to VC fund RPSG Ventures and the remaining 35% a couple years later for a total cost of 80 crore rupees. He is currently the co-founder of a venture strategy firm called V3 Ventures. But here's the thing. The likelihood of both Ashok and Arjun building brands that are even more successful than their predecessors is slim. It's like Ankur Bisen, a senior partner at the consulting firm Technopark Advisors, told us. In India, there are very few examples of second and third generation founders that have been able to do that, especially in the consumer space. He says that's because legacy businesses don't innovate with the changing times and mainly brands remain one product wonders. More on that in the next segment. Let's get real for a second. None of the brands we discussed this far are starting from scratch. With their generations of legacy come certain strategic advantages, the biggest of which is an existing supply chain. The Ken spoke to multiple founders for the story, Shah, Money, and Vaidya included. All of them had access to fully functioning factories to source their products from. Now, this ensures higher quality products as opposed to with newer brands, all of which source from the same third-party vendors. Arjun Vaidya cited the example of Minimalist. When it was acquired by Hindustan Unilever, the beauty and personal care brand managed to get at least 20 to 30% higher valuations because they already had a factory in place. Another big advantage is easy access to capital. For instance, in its first 7 years of operations, Kitchen Treasures raised 70 crore rupees in multiple tranches from the family. It was followed by an external round of funding of 80 crore rupees in 2019 from private equity firm Investcorp. A private investor we spoke to said, of the two, the latter really helped scale the brand. This is because external investors usually bring more accountability as well as offer strategic advice. When Investcorp came in, it advised Money to get rid of gourmet food brand Sprig from its portfolio. Why? Because, well, clubbing a super niche brand with its other mass market ones just did not make sense. And the results came soon after. When Investcorp came on board in FY20, Kitchen Treasures was making sales of 157 crore rupees at a net loss of 25 crore rupees. In 4 years, its sales shot up to 235 crore rupees and the company made a profit of 11 crore. Something similar happened with the healthcare-focused Ayurveda brand Kapiva. It was started by Amiv Sharma, the scion of the 78-year-old Ayurvedic brand Baidyanath. And thanks to multiple rounds of funding from external investors, he managed to grow Kapiva 6 times between FY21 and 24. Multiple founders told the Ken that getting that large chunk of ammunition is already a major leg up when you're trying to take on incumbents. But here's the funny thing about all of this. Sure, these next-gen founders are setting out to break the mold, But in the process, they've ended up creating a new one. Industry experts told us that investors have now started considering a history of being part of family businesses as a filter for funding new ventures, just like they once did graduating from an IIT or an IIM. So the legacy is still opening doors for them. But the real struggle remains, charting a new course while getting both parents and employees on board.
Daybreak is produced from the newsroom of The Ken, India's first subscriber-focused business news platform. What you're listening to is just a small sample of our subscriber-only offerings. A full subscription unlocks daily long-form feature stories, newsletters, and podcast extras. Head to theken.com and click on the red subscribe button on the top of the website. Today's episode was hosted by Rahil Philippos and edited by Rajiv CN.